The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate podcast. I am Luis, your host, and today we have a very special guest from Alabama. So she has done around 500 transactions, and her name is Jessica Johnson. She's going to let us know about her story and how she has achieved with her team this impressive number. How are you today, Jessica?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Great.
So, can you start telling us a little bit about your background? How did you get into this industry?
Yeah, actually it was by accident. I worked for my dad, who was an auctioneer, and he wanted me to have a real estate license so I could broker auctions for him when he was auctioning off like big plants and things. And then
Yeah.
I was in college. I was only 19, and the real estate was an elective. And so I thought, well, I need the hours. I need an elective, so let's do it. My dad's been talking about it. Let's do it. So I did it, and then I got into real estate. I went and took my course exam, and then my state exam, and then I found out, obviously, through the class and the test, that you have to have a salesperson license for 2 years. And so then I went and found a local real estate company to join for those 2 years, really just to hang my license. And then I fell in love with it, and I was good at it. So I continued to do it through college. And then when I graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in business and specialization in real estate, I decided that real estate was my career, and that's what I was
Okay.
going to do. And here we are.
Perfect. And can you share a memorable success story from your career that is really impacting you?
I don't really have like a one particular story, I guess. But I guess if I had to choose something, it would probably be we just treat everyone regardless of price, size, condition, or whatever style property. We treat everyone the same. So we don't know how to provide like subpar service. So we're an all or nothing. And when I say we, it's me and Haley, my full-time licensed assistant. That's driven my success as a single agent, and I have instilled those values and ideas in Haley, who is like literally like my left arm, and that continues to drive our success. We try to be intuitive, answer questions before we're asked. When we're prepping a listing, we address anything that we typically hear about on inspections. We address everything up front to eliminate as many issues as possible, to only have minor cosmetic changes show up on the home inspection. And, buyers nowadays, they want a home that is move-in ready. They don't have a
Okay.
lot of extra money to be doing all these things. So I guess it's not really a memorable success story, but it's just
Okay.
as a single agent with only a full-time assistant for the past 2.5 years, I feel like we've had a lot of success in our time.
Awesome. And what are some of the biggest changes you have seen into the real estate market over the past 15 years?
The biggest changes is watching it flip-flop from like a buyer market to a seller market to a neutral market. Those are the biggest changes, I guess I would say. And I never thought that I would be like, if only I knew what I knew now back then about pricing and the history of pricing, and like I could have bought entire neighborhoods for nothing. And now, they're worth 50 to 75% more than when I started 15 years ago. So I guess the biggest thing I've learned in that 15 years is to invest in real estate,
Yeah.
even when you think it might not be the greatest time, and that it's never really a bad time to buy in real estate.
All right, perfect, perfect. And what advice would you give to a first-time homebuyer looking to purchase a home in your area?
The best advice I can give you is to be prepared before you start. A good in-depth buyer consultation to discuss all intricacies of the process, what to expect, what it might cost, how long it will take. And when we know what to expect, we can better respond in a stressful or emotional situation, because it is a first-time homebuyer's biggest purchase and it is scary.
Yeah,
So when you know what to expect, it's not so scary. And we hold their hand the entire way to make sure they don't miss any deadlines and no stones are left unturned, because Alabama is a buyer beware state. So the buyer has to determine the condition of the property and satisfy themselves with their inspections as far as the condition goes. So we leave no stones left unturned. We create a wants needs list. And then we only search for needs. And then if the wants are there, that's an added bonus. So knowing what those wants and needs are and knowing the difference, and knowing
yeah.
what your budget is and what that payment looks like and the cost associated with home ownership before you even get started.
All right, perfect, perfect. And can you describe a challenging transaction you have handled and how did you overcome these obstacles?
A challenging transaction.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Maybe one you remember.
Actually, recently we had a pretty challenging one. I had a buyer, first time home buyer, single mom, had a 16-year-old son, and we found the perfect house after. And this buyer worked on her credit for 2 years, did everything we advised her to do, finally was able in a position to buy a home, her first home in her mid 50s as a single mom. And we found this perfect house and everything was perfect. Like the size was perfect, the location, the backyard, everything, except for this
Mm.
Jeep parked in front of the house. And it wasn't in front of the house, it was about to the right of the property, but it was in the line of sight of the driveway. And so my client had asked if we could email the HOA to see if anything could be done about this vehicle that appeared to be abandoned. It had expired tags. It was a Jeep with a trailer. And so it was blocking the line of sight backing out of the driveway. So that was my client's only hang up. Like, I love this house, but like, I don't want to worry about people parking on the street and blocking my line of sight or my ability to back out of my driveway or whatever. So
All
we
right.
emailed the HOA for her. They couldn't do anything about it. And so dealing with that with a neighbor who was not very willing to budge on or compromise on where the vehicle was, getting over that and helping her find the right thing to do to take care of that and get over that obstacle, to ensure that she would enjoy living there, was probably one of our biggest challenges recently. So dealing with unexpected neighbor issues at the perfect house.
Yeah, yeah. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you for answering. And do you have a system or a CRM that your brokerage is providing to you?
Yes, Keller Williams provides Command, and it's amazing. You can create newsletters, you can create smart plans,
Okay.
you can track your transactions, you can predict your income based on what you have in the pipeline, and then as well as keep up with your leads and past clients.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Can you describe some common mistakes sellers and buyers are doing through the process?
Common mistakes would be not taking care of repair items up front for sellers, not having your best foot forward on the first time you're exposed to the market, because so many people, especially our younger buyers, once they see it, if it didn't look how they wanted, they don't go back to it. They don't save it. If it's not on their save list, they assume that it's dead to them. So if you are a seller and you don't put your best foot forward, like posting one photo of the exterior only on the first day on the market, I can't tell you how many clients I will send those to, and they'll say, well, there's no interior pictures. I'm not wasting my time. Must be something wrong with it. So that's a big mistake that I think sellers make, not being best foot forward in the beginning. And then for buyers, the biggest mistake I would say is looking online before they know what their budget is, because a lot of times they don't. They look at the little payment estimate on the bottom of the website that isn't always true or involved. It doesn't include all like taxes, insurance, HOA fees. So it doesn't include any of that. So they think, oh, I can afford that. And really the payment's $300 more a month.
Yeah.
And they get all obsessed or excited about this property that they think that they can afford the payment of. And then they go to the lender and find out that that's not the case. And then
It's not the
nothing ever
case.
compares to that house after that.
All right. And what about the buyers? What common mistakes are they doing?
That was a buyer mistake, is looking online before
Oh,
they
okay.
know what their actual budget is and the true cost of that budget.
Oh, okay,
I would say
okay.
that's their biggest mistake. So
The
I
biggest
guess
one.
you could loop that back to jumping into the process without being prepared up front. Like you
Okay.
can't just call and say, I want to go see a house today, especially with our newest legal changes in the real estate industry. Um, you can't just wake up and say, oh, I think I might buy a house today. Like you need to go through the proper channels, meet with a realtor, interview realtors, and find the right realtor for you, and then connect with the lender, and then know what that cost looks like, and then start looking at houses.
Okay. And how do you manage relationships with clients who have different expectations or priorities?
Can you elaborate on that a little more?
How do you manage relationships with clients who have different expectations or priorities?
I guess if you mean like they have different expectations than reality, or
Yeah,
I don't really
exactly.
understand the
Yeah.
I guess we just try to understand where they're coming from and to understand their perspective and to see why they feel that way, because usually it could be a miscommunication, or it could be something that's not realistic, or it could be something that would not help them. Or like for example, a lot of people want open houses on the weekends to the public. Well, in an occupied home, that's not always the best thing because there's so many belongings in the home, and we're not security guards. And sellers think, oh, if you're not doing open houses, you're not trying to sell my home, when statistically open houses are the lowest, least effective way to sell a home.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
So I guess we just try to understand where they're coming from and then try to find a common ground. And if it's a realistic expectation that we're not meeting, then we're happy to rise to the occasion. But most of the time we're exceeding expectations. That's
All
our
right.
goal.
And what are the next steps for your career? I mean, what are the goals for the rest of the year and next year for you?
The goals for the rest of the year are just to survive as a new mom
Yeah.
in as a full-time career, running my own business, and now running a little one's life, and not missing out any on his life. So finding that work-life balance has been really important to me and Haley, whose son is 6 days older than mine. Um, so us finding that work-life balance is our biggest goal. And then of course, just always increasing our customer service and our value to our clients.
All right. Perfect. So, what is the most rewarding part of your job, and what is keeping you motivated?
Oh, I think the most rewarding part of my job is introducing people to Tuscaloosa, which is a town that I really love living in. I've traveled all over and I always love coming home. So I really love introducing people that aren't from here, like students coming to the university, their parents, incoming hires at Mercedes, University of Alabama, Nucor Steel. I love introducing them to Tuscaloosa and sharing the history of Tuscaloosa with them. And I also love just seeing a win-win come to the end, and both parties be really happy, and someone get a home, someone sell a home, someone cash out on their equity, and walk away with a big check at the end of the day, or make a new investment that's going to increase their um, personal wealth. And just getting to see all of that happen and meeting all the people is really rewarding, and being able to assist them in something that's such a huge part of their life is extremely rewarding.
Okay, very nice, very nice. And well, just so you know, some of our audience are also realtors who are trying to get into the real estate market and they don't know how to do it. So, what advice would you give to them so they can properly get into the business?
I would say don't try to rush into success. Do just like with the buyers and the sellers that need to be prepared to sell their home or to buy a home. Realtors entering the market are not prepared when they finish their test. They need proper training. So you need a brokerage that's going to train you. You need to understand that you're not interviewing, or you are interviewing the brokerage as much as they are interviewing you. All brokerages probably want you, um, as long as you're a good person and willing to have good work ethic and show up and be professional. So at the end of the day, most companies want you, and you need to understand that you need to make sure that they're the best company for you as an agent. You need to know that they have proper training. You need to have agents in the office that are willing to mentor you and help you with your first couple of contracts, because that is so scary to walk up and show a house and the buyer wants it, and then you go to the office, pull up the legal documents, and those weren't on the test. Those weren't in the class, the 60-hour real estate course. That's not in there. And so you need to make sure that you have someone that's going to hold your hand until you know enough, or have enough experience under your belt to feel confident to do it on your own. And also, another big thing that a lot of people don't do is have at least 6 months of reserve money, because it could be 6 months before you make your first deal and close it. And you don't want to have like commission breath. You don't want to be starving, because the thing in real estate, even though it is a sales position, you're not really selling people on anything. You're assisting them in purchasing something or selling a property. You're not having to sell them on the house. You can't convince someone to love something, right? Or you shouldn't. So you just really need to provide value and service. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can't do either of those.
Okay, perfect. Is there any advice or any general message you would like to promote or something we should know about you before we leave?
Not so much about me, I guess, because I feel like we've talked a lot about me. Um, but I think just for realtors out there, or people thinking about getting into real estate, really just talk to a lot of realtors about what their life looks like before you make that big move and know what you're going into. And for buyers and sellers, interview your agent. Don't just pick the person on the sign or the person that responded to the button you clicked on the internet. Make sure you're picking someone that is going to work for you, is a full-time agent, preferably, and someone that is going to be someone you can rely on their advice, rely on them to be there, rely on them to answer the phone and guide you. And so, you just really need to be careful with how technology has made everything so easy. Because just because it was easy to connect with that person doesn't mean that they are the right person to help you buy or sell a property.
Awesome, awesome, perfect, Jessica. Thank you very much for all this knowledge and for letting us know about your experience and how to be successful into the real estate market in Alabama.
Yeah, and we can't leave this without a solid roll tide.
Yeah, of course, of course. You're going into a right direction. I can see it, and you're going to become one of the top producers in Alabama very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being part of Icons of Real Estate, and we'll see another time. Thank you.
All right, sounds good.
Bye bye.